You are listening to the Toxic Mold Podcast with Steve Worsley, the toxic mold expert and your number one source for mold consulting and mitigation in the USA. Let's dive into a brand new episode.
Before we get started on this episode, here's a not-so-short disclaimer. While all attempts have been made to verify the content provided in this podcast, neither the podcaster nor the producers assume any responsibility for errors, omissions, or alternative interpretations of the issues discussed here. All information stated in this podcast is the opinion of Steve Worsley. Steve Worsley is a mold specialist with over 25 years of experience in the construction and mold industry. The Toxic Mold Podcast is for information sharing purposes only. The views expressed are those of the podcaster and his alone. These views should not be taken as expert instruction or commands. While there may be references to medical conditions and symptoms, all podcast episodes are the opinion of Steve Worsley, and any medical questions or concerns shall be addressed with the appropriate licensed medical professional or professionals. As the podcaster refers to different mold types, please be aware that Steve Worsley is not a microbiologist, and questions concerning mold specifics should be answered by the appropriate professional. Steve isn't, nor does he offer any legal advice. For any legal advice, you must speak to a lawyer. The listener is 100% responsible for his or her own actions. You can check out Steve's books on Amazon. Just go to Amazon and search for author Steve Worsley. You can also take Steve's mold education courses, such as Mold 101 and the Mycotoxin Prevention Kit, by going to cnccontractorservices.com. Again, check out his mold education courses at cnccontractorservices.com. Now, let's get to the episode.
Hello everyone. Before we dive into this episode, I wanted to share some exciting news. I'll be speaking at the Healthy Home Summit, a free online event dedicated to helping you create a healthier living environment. If you want to go deeper on protecting your home and your family's health, grab the registration link I've put in this episode's description, sign up, and join me at the Healthy Home Summit. We'll see you there. Hello, you're listening to the Toxic Mold Podcast with myself, Steve Worsley, and we have my wife, Cassandra. Hopefully spring is here. Summer's coming, right?
Hopefully.
This cold weather's going to go bye-bye.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Because all we've had is cold weather and no snow.
Exactly. It's been very weird.
Exactly. So today's topic, it's something I see quite often, so I figured I'd do an episode about it, but it's about drip pans to prevent black mold growth. So do you know what a drip pan even is?
Yeah, something that goes under a water heater.
Correct. That's one
to
spot
catch
you could have
moisture, water.
Yeah, you can have them under sinks, under water heaters, under washing machines, sometimes under dishwashers. A lot of it just depends.
Do appliances come with drip pans, or do you have to buy them?
No, you have to buy them.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, and one thing with a drip pan is, so depending, and as we always say, everything's unique. So for our listeners, it's not going to be the same exact scenario. But let's say you buy a washing machine, you know you need a drip pan because the laundry room's not in the basement. It's on the main level. And if that washing machine was to leak, it would cause a bunch of problems in, let's say, the finished basement. Well, you buy a drip pan, but what good would that drip pan do if you don't have it plumbed to a drain line?
Yeah, that's true. It just overflows, and then it still causes moisture intrusion events, right?
Right.
Okay.
So I guess my point is for our listeners, depending on the reasoning for the drip pan, the purpose, where it's going to be put, would determine if you need to have it piped to a drain or if just the pan itself's good enough.
Okay. Do all showers come with drip pans?
Shower's not, no.
Okay,
it's not. That's a shower pan.
Shower pan. That's what I was thinking.
That's kind
about.
of we can talk about that, but for our listeners, a shower pan, I hate to say it this way, but I've seen some pretty crazy stuff. Every shower should have a shower pan.
Okay.
Just like in the shower in our bathroom. What we stand on is the shower pan.
Okay, so every shower has a shower pan. What you're standing on is the shower pan. But for what we're talking about with drip pans, every appliance that should have a drip pan doesn't come with one unless
No.
you buy one and put it there.
Exactly.
Okay, I wanted to be clear on that because I think sometimes people think that, well, if I'm supposed to have a drip pan, then when I buy a washer, it comes with one.
Yeah. No, and we're gonna take a deeper dive into all of this, but the purpose, kind of go back to the purpose. The whole point behind this is to prevent water damage below whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a shoe rack. It could be, we have a lab that is in the lab. I don't want to say it in the mean terms, but he's kind of a slob when he's drinking water.
Yeah, he gets water everywhere. So we do have a drip pan underneath his water bowl thingamajig. So it catches the water and the water
Right.
doesn't go on the floor.
So could you imagine for the dog's drip pan for his water if we didn't have something?
Oh yeah, we'd have moisture on the floors and it would get to the subfloors and then we'd have a mold problem eventually.
Exactly.
Okay.
And once again, so, I mentioned having a drain off of the drip pan. Do we have a drain off of the pan below Grady's dish?
No.
Because we don't need one.
Mm-mm.
The worst he could do is the pan itself can hold enough water that, as sloppy as he is, it's not going to overflow.
Exactly.
But could you imagine if we had to pipe it?
Yeah.
Like that would be...
That would not work. But any appliance or anything that that the drip pan could overflow, that's where you want to have
Right.
it drain out somewhere.
So it goes back to what we first started talking about. So let's talk about a water heater, okay? You've seen drip pans below water heaters, right?
Yes.
Or water heaters in a closet. Ironically, I'm not going to pull the cover off and show you, but I'm pretty sure there's a drip pan below it.
Yes.
Now, what kind of water heater? It's a tank. So it's holding 40 gallons, 50 gallons of water.
In that large tank.
Correct.
What about tankless?
Right. So let me finish this. So if something fails on this water heater, how much water do we got to deal with?
40 gallons or whatever's in it.
What about an instant water heater?
That's what I'm asking you. Like,
exactly.
Is there anything in it? What's in an instant water heater?
Not really. But on the other hand, I would think either way it would be pretty catastrophic.
So you should still, even with an instant water heater, have a drip pan.
No, this is where I'm confusing everybody. Because an instant water heater is mounted to the wall.
Okay.
Once again, when you install one, you need to keep that in mind when you're building the house or installing one. What if something happens and water starts spraying everywhere?
So help me understand. You have a normal water heater, and depending on the gallons of water, that is what is in the water heater at pretty much at all times.
Right.
But you have an instant water heater. It's a smaller device that is hooked to the wall. What happens if that goes kaput? Like, does water just start spraying everywhere?
Yeah, well, so that's kind of a complex question, and I'm probably confusing you and our listeners. If something catastrophically went bad on either one, it would be spraying water in.
Okay, that's what I wasn't clear on. Okay.
So what you have on a water heater is what we call a TPR valve. It's a temperature and pressure relief valve.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard me probably talk about this with my clients. If you don't have that, so when the tank is metal, when the water heats up, what happens when you heat something up? It expands.
Yes.
You'll have an expansion tank that's usually plumbed somewhere above the water heater. Then you'll have a TPR valve that runs it's a discharge pipe. It comes right off the water heater. And then it runs to, code states it has to terminate no higher than 6 inches above the floor. Okay. Those TPR valves are notorious for going bad.
Okay.
I've told you the story about my brother.
Yes.
Remember when he thought he was going to play with one in a place I was renting in Riverton, Utah?
Yeah.
Do you remember that story that I told you? So this TPR valve has this little handle on it.
Mm-hmm.
And, he, at the time, he wasn't a kid. He was an adult.
Yeah.
At least high school. He decided to pull the lever on it.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't close. So water was spraying everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Remember I've told you that story?
Yeah.
We had to go find the main water shut off.
And shut it off and all of that.
And then go replace the valve.
Yeah.
My point is if that valve goes bad, the way a water heater is designed, it's plumbed right into your cold water. Mm-hmm. Water would just keep running through it, whether it's a tankless water heater or it's a tank water heater.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
But why do you not need a drip pan for a tankless water heater?
Well, I want to be clear. I'm not saying you don't need one, but it's kind of a totally different thing.
Okay.
So if I was to explain to you and our listeners, a tankless water heater is this square, and usually it's mounted to the wall, right? We've been in a place that has one. You've seen it. It's kind of
It's
a
a smaller
large
thing.
square.
Yeah.
But compared to a water heater, one with a tank,
Yeah.
it's this huge tank.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of totally different things. I'm not a plumber. If any other professionals are listening that are plumbers, they could probably explain this better than I can. But the reason why I don't think you see a drip pan below a tankless water heater is just because they're not known to be as problematic.
Okay. But at the end of the day, the things that are problematic are going to be like the washing machine, the sink, the pet water bowls, the water heaters.
Well, anything and everything could be problematic.
So you have to use your own discretion to decide where you put drip pans.
Right.
Okay.
So let's go back to what we were talking about with our dog. If we had a dog that was just always sloppy with water, and let's say we had 3 of them, so it was really, really bad, we would either have to train them to not be sloppy when they drink their water, or find somewhere else to put their water, like maybe outside.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense. So then how do you suggest that people determine how many or what drip pans they need? How do they go about doing that?
There's a few things, in my opinion, that must have a drip pan in a home. That would be if you have a 40, 50, I don't care if it's an 80-gallon water heater, you must have a drip pan.
Okay.
Now, if it's tankless, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that's the same thing. You should have one if you have a tank water heater.
Okay.
I believe you should always have, especially if a washing machine is not sitting on concrete, so your clothes washer, it should have a drip pan.
Okay.
And both the drip pan for the water heater and the washing machine should be plumbed to a drain pipe.
Okay.
If for some reason, let's say that water heater goes kaput and you're on vacation, at least all the water coming out of it is going into the drain.
Okay.
And this brings me to something that has nothing to do with this episode, but that's why water monitoring systems are so important.
Because a whole house water monitoring alarm would tell you if something like the water heater was...
Exactly. It wouldn't tell you something's wrong with the water heater. It would tell you a ton of water's running through the meter.
Ah, okay. That's very interesting. Okay.
Makes
so
sense?
that makes a lot of sense. So really, this kind of goes in alignment with you always want to have humidity gauges around to make sure that the humidity is not over 60%. It's helpful to have a whole water alarm system to point when there's too much water moving through some system in the house. And you always want to have drip pans under those certain items that you just mentioned. And this is all prevention.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. If I was to tell our listeners, where should you have them? Well, a lot of it would be based on your personal habits. Maybe you're gone a lot, whatever. There should be one under a tank water heater, one under a washing machine, and one under your sinks.
Okay.
They make them that go underneath your sinks.
Okay.
So if your drain starts to leak, you can put that. I mean, you can't put it in, but if you had one put in, you would see the water on your drip pan.
Okay. And so walk me through, if somebody has not used drip pans, how does not having drip pans, how could it lead to black mold growth?
So let's go back to what we were just talking about with the dog. That could cause moisture intrusion events.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to a water heater. Water heaters typically only last through their warranty period, which is 7 to 10 years. Now, granted, I've seen water heaters that are like 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But water heaters are notorious for they start to leak at the bottom when the tank is bad.
Okay.
And when that starts to happen, you'll start seeing rust at the bottom.
Okay.
Well, imagine what you couldn't see, and let's say the bottom of the tank, it finally just gives out. Imagine where all that water's going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if you were in a basement and you have a concrete floor, it wouldn't be as catastrophic. But let's say like what we have, there's wood below it.
Yeah, it would be very catastrophic to wood. So that...
Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Where do people buy drip pans from?
Well, I mean, you could probably buy them at any hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace.
Could you buy them on Amazon?
Exactly.
Oh, you could?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, this is easy access then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would imagine every drip pan we have talked about, you can get on Amazon.
Okay.
It might be a little cheaper built, but
you could get it and you could, use them.
Right.
Okay.
But keep in mind though, so if someone's listening and they're like, hey, I'm going to go tell my husband or my significant other, we need a drip pan below the water heater. It's not something you just can slide underneath there.
No, there's a lot to it. Even a washing machine. If you've already got
Exactly.
it in place in your laundry room,
Exactly.
there's a lot you've got to
Exactly.
undo to then put the drip pan there.
Right.
Okay.
Now, if you were to put a drip pan below your dog's water bowl, that's a piece of cake.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to put a drip pan below your kitchen sink,
Mm-hmm.
that would be pretty easy. Just pull everything out and then put that pan in there.
Yep. Okay. So then thinking about drip pans and black mold, what's your call to action for people?
Make sure, even the easy ones, let's say for pets or underneath sinks, make sure you have drip pans.
Okay, and you can get them everywhere.
Exactly. We talked about, I think it was last week we did the spring checklist. No, it was 2 weeks ago. Anyhow, we're supposed to have, and we already just talked about this, it's all created.
Yes.
We just got to do the last leg of it. But we have email lists, and to get on my email list, we have opt-ins.
Yes, and
so it's kind of a freebie.
You just go to cnccontractorservices.com and you will see the opportunity to sign up to get, I believe it is the mold investigation checklist. And so you sign up there and you'll get emails.
Exactly. And we won't blow up your email. I just told you, I think today, that I'm not very good at sending out emails like I should. But for our listeners, it's just a way to kind of, you'll hear from me every once in a while. And once you do that too, you get my personal email address that we don't share with everybody.
And you get education about black mold, toxigenic mold, all the things,
exactly.
mycotoxins. It's worth signing up for.
Yep. All right. Well, we appreciate all you listeners. Have a great week.
Thanks for tuning in. Would you like to get a handle on mold in your home? What it is, how to spot it, and what to do next? If you said yes to that, the Mold 101 bundle is your all-in-one guide. Packed with self-assessment worksheets, a workbook, video walkthroughs, and expert audio coaching, this digital bundle gives you the tools to protect your home and your family. Visit cnccontractorservices.com/the Mold 101 bundle and get started today. Again, visit cnccontractorservices.com/the Mold 101 bundle and get started today.